Hi, it's Matt Kinnell, the Body and Mind Physio here. I just wanted to talk today about a certain pattern or habit that could be making people's pain worse rather than better. And that habit is to check in with the pain too often throughout the day. Now, the checking in may come in different forms. So it may be that somebody is pressing around an area regularly throughout the day, so pressing in, seeing how does that feel there. Yeah, no, that still feels quite sore as I press into that muscle there. Or it could be doing a certain movement, so maybe turning your head to the side. Yeah, I feel sore as I get around there, or doing, moving the arm. How's it feel as I move the arm up there? Yeah, yeah, that still feels quite sore. Or it could come in the form of checking in after you've done a certain activity. So it could be that somebody's goes for a walk. Every time they get back from a walk, check in with the knee. Oh, how's the knee feeling? Yeah, knee's feeling sore after I've been for that walk. Or every time you lift something, how's the back feeling after I lifted there? Yeah, I'm still getting a bit of pain. Or even if you don't get some pain, still checking in with it every time you do that certain movement or activity. Now, the difficulty is with doing this is that by pressing around the area, it may be that you're overstimulating the receptors in that area, and by overstimulating the receptors, you're getting more information going into the central nervous system and up into the brain. And when the brain receives more information from an area, it can generally perceive that as being dangerous. So if it thinks it's dangerous, then it can trigger off the brain to carry on producing pain as a protective mechanism, because it feels like that area still needs protecting. Or just generally focusing on that area again, it makes you and your brain more aware of it. So again, the brain and nervous systems think there's something still going on there, so it carries on producing the pain as a protective mechanism. So by doing that, by creating more focus and more kind of information going backwards and forwards, it creates this kind of vicious cycle of information going backwards and forwards between the brain and that area that you're feeling pain. Now, it's not always easy just to tell yourself to stop doing something. So what you could do instead is, to begin with, maybe over a period of time, just notice how often you are checking in with that area, and then just begin to ask yourself, does this feel like I'm doing this too often? I'm doing this quite regularly, because to begin with, you might not be aware that you're even doing it. It may just be in a habit. And if you feel like it is too much, you are checking in too often. What you could do is then start to question that. So start to ask yourself, well, is this beneficial? Is this doing me any good by checking in, or does it just feel like a habit that I've got into? And then as you start to create doubt about doing it, it then may help you to check in a little bit less. So you're doing it a bit less often. Which means there's not quite as much stimulation there and not as much information going up into the brain. So the brain becomes less focused on that area, doesn't feel like it needs protecting quite as much, so not sending information down there to tell the receptors to stay on high alert and stay protective of that area. So you're starting to break that vicious cycle of information, and hopefully over time that will also then start to help with the pain. Pain becomes less intense, and you feel like you need to check in with it less. And again, you're further breaking that cycle of information. So yeah, give it a go. People that I've worked with who've got long-term pain have found this a useful thing to do, and hopefully over a period of time, it will also help to give you some improvement with the level of pain that you're experiencing.